Hey there, and welcome back to another guitar session with Jason Carey. I know you all missed a drink last week, so we're going to start off with a drink. Nice Poland Spring water. If you're from Maine, you know, and you're from that aquifer, we flush our toilets with that stuff. Poland Spring. So that's a nice little song we're going to talk about. Today we're talking about Ripple by the Grateful Dead, and I wanted to welcome you individually, every single one of you. Okay, so welcome and to our Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time guitar session. So this was a recommendation last week, and we wanted to follow up on this song because it's a really fun song. We love playing the song, and it works out to be just a handful of chords. Okay, so we'll get right into the song, and we may, if we have some time, we'll talk about using the melody, creating the melody, and intermixing it, just sort of arranging it into the chord strum patterns that we talk about. So we'll talk about the whole song, the A section and the B section, and then there's one layer of one measure of link section when we walk down into the chorus or the B section of the song. So hang on and we'll get right to it. So without further ado, we're going to, is everybody in tune? So hopefully everybody's in tune, but we'll tune up. We're actually tuned into standard tuning, and concert, I think the recording may be a little different in concert pitch, but not much. So we'll start with a low E string. And then A. And D. Then back up to G. B. And high E. Okay, so here we go. We'll start on position number 9, and we really should warm up. Warming up is so important, and you hear me say that every week if you've been tuning in or if you've been watching any of these guitar sessions. So we'll start with a finger warm-up on position 9, and we'll use fingers 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, trying to get my tambourine under my foot sort of in place. And then we shift positions down one position each time we ascend and then descend. Once we make it to the bottom of the descending pattern, we'll go ahead and position switch down one more, shift down one more position again. You could also mix it up and then give yourself 4, you know, like a 16th note grid on each one of these, or triple it. Down, up, down. That means if you're using triplets, we would alternate between down, up, and down, up, and then up, down, 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 up, down, down. For each new note, we alternate. We begin on an alternative tone, up an alternative stroke, pick stroke. We can speed it up a little bit. We could do 5. That's fun. Or 6s. or different strum patterns. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, down. The point is that we want to make it down to position number 1. And then back up to position number 9 again. And that's where we would complete our warm-up pattern. But for tonight, we'll skip over the majority of that and just consider maybe doing that during the week. And have some fun with it. Spend some time with it. There's no substitute for just spending time with the guitar. Okay, hopefully you get a chance to do that over the week. How are we doing on time? Do they have a link yet to download? Okay, so we have a link already for you to download the Ripple song by the Grateful Dead. I believe it's a 3-page sheet of music, a binder of music, and it's a PDF. So it's a 3.5 megabyte PDF. You can go ahead and grab it. It's a bit.ly, bit.ly, Ripple Guitar Session. Okay, so Ripple Guitar Session. And the chords, really, that we're just going to work through, I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different chords in this song. So we start with a G chord, and we'll use that G, and that's actually on page number 1 of the handout. So it's, or the download, I guess they're downloads these days, right? So G is finger 3 on the low E string, and then finger 2, and then open D, open G, open B, and then finger 4 on the high E string. So you get this all kinds of really cool stuff to do with that fingering if we use fingers 3, 2, and 4 for the G chord. It's a lot of fun. And that will be handy for this particular song. So that's why we've chosen that particular chord fingering. So stick with us on that one. We'll move up to the C chord. So we're starting with finger 3 on the A string, and then I guess finger 2 on the D, open G, and then finger 1 on the B, and then open high E. And then we could use that second finger there if we don't need it there, but we could use it. So second finger being the middle finger, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then thumb. So on the tablature, you'll look at the D chord with finger 1 on fret number 2 on the G, finger 3 on the B string, finger 2 on the high E string. Now on that high E string, you may see me do this with adding that fourth finger. That's a sus4. And that's a really cool sound for this song. We picked this song because it's a really fun song to play, and it gives us some technical approaches that we wouldn't have if we didn't study the song. A minor is another nice one for this song. We have in the chorus section of the song, we have the open A, fret 2 on the D, fret 3 on the G. And then, so those two fingers cover the 2 middle strings on the 2, on this fret 2. Finger 1 falls back to fret number 1 on the B string, and then open high E. Okay, then A7 is our final chord that we'll be talking about tonight in this song. So we'll start with the open A, fret 2 on the D, open G, finger 3 on the B string. And so those chords are fun. This is a kind of a fun chord shape because you can experiment with moving that chord over the guitar neck, and you keep those open strings around it, and certain areas sound better than others. that's not so good. Fret 6, I probably won't ever go there again. Fret 7's cool. Okay, so now we know all of the chords. Are there any questions? I'm going to hang here for just a brief time, but I'm going to move on. If you have a question, you go ahead and you ask it in our live chat. We do monitor that live chat. We have Kathy on here, to our moderator on tonight. Aaron's coming back next week, I think. We're going to keep trying to get back and forth. So if you do have questions, we have a moderator, highly trained, highly skilled moderator who can be very responsive in that live chat. So don't hesitate to use that live chat, huh? What do you think? Is that overselling it a little bit? Hit that live chat if you have questions. So we're moving on. So this thing that you want to do next is study that G major pentatonic scale. And it's the skeletal structure of that is fret 3 on the low E, right, with the third finger. And we're using the same finger as fret number because we're playing an open position. Open A, fret 2. So I remember this pattern like this. It's 3, right? O2, 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 and then O3, O3. 3, O2, 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 O3, O3. And we can actually use the open low E string too. If you play the E minor pentatonic, it's the same exact shape as the E minor pentatonic. All right, but it starts on, instead of E, starts on G. So the song, when we start doing the strum pattern, we've got to talk about that strum pattern. The strum pattern, sort of like on the studio recording on American Beauty, I think, is G, 2 and 3 and 4. It's basically the quarter note followed by an eighth tied to another eighth, and then followed by an eighth tied to another eighth, followed by an eighth tied to another eighth. But there are two places where we don't play, right? So we have one, skip, down, up, skip, up, down, skip, up. Okay, so that's the strum pattern. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Okay? So that will be folded right into the song. And it do 3 and 4, and we're starting right on the G for 2 bars. And it's pretty quick. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and hang on that C. And then that C, stay there again, and stay on the C, back to G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and now we're on measure 9, 10, and then 11, and 12, and then 13. 14, 2, 3, 4, 15, and then back to 16. So we have that really cool verse pattern that we're very familiar with. If we've heard the song at all, you know, you're pretty familiar with it. And the lick that we really should learn right away, this is the one that just sort of like characterizes it. You could do nothing else and play this lick. And that pretty much is the introduction of every verse, so we're conditioned to hearing that. I would recommend learning this. I didn't write it out in the tablature, but it's available here on fret number 2, fret number 2 again on the A string. Then we move to fret number 3 on the D, on the A string, C note, and then open D, and then open G. Down, 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 up, down. So we'll put the whole song together, and then 1, 2, this is the verse, now the A section. And we'll stay right here on C. And you'll see that I'm using the notes from that G major pentatonic scale, plus that little lick. And then we do this walk down that I missed there. Fret 2 and then fret 1 to open A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then up to D. And then we do that lick again. Cannot actually use that alternating bass pattern on the C chord. You go back down and forth to from this A to the G, low E string. Okay, so do we have any questions at all? Nothing. Okay, so we're back. We dropped that signal for a second. Got a little hairy there, a steep grade, sharp turns, you know, treacherous stretch your highway. So you got to watch out for that stuff. So we're back and we're putting it all together. Okay, so we're putting this Ripple by the Grateful Dead all together, all little pieces. Just like that. So you could keep studying the video if you want, or you could follow up in a live chat, or you can hit me up, give us a little message on YouTube if you wanted a little more detail. In the introduction of the song is really kind of where it's at. It follows the structure of the A section of the tune. In the verse. We have that little lick that we use. If walk down to A minor, and then go ahead up to D, and you can alternate back and forth, and then we're walking up to C, and then heading at A7, and then D, you who choose, right? I think that's about it. If you don't have any questions, I think that's a good place to wrap up for tonight. Go ahead and download that tablature, and don't forget to give us a little less, just a little less. Like, share, subscribe, and we are going to see you again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have any requests, we have a couple of other tunes coming up. We've got Patience by the GNR. We've got the Knocking on Heaven's Door coming up. And a bunch of other really cool stuff, kind of fun stuff that we've kind of like forgotten about almost. All those tunes that are really fun to play that we just don't play anymore. So tune in again Wednesdays at 9, and we're still working on that audience building in Australia for our Australian buddies. So keep picking and happy trails. I'm going to play a couple of notes and then we'll see you next time.